My heart is in telling stories that help people.
Instead of texting downward like this, raise your eyes and keep your spine straight.
And whether it's celebrating advances,
for all intents and purposes, this is a cure of the diabetes.
Good news for the some 200,000 Canadian children and adults with this type 1 diabetes.
or giving a voice to patients who really need to be heard.
And the glasses don't help with the chronic pain that radiates from his eyes into his head.
It's constant, right? It doesn't stop. It doesn't end.
Or pointing out flaws and mistakes and problems with medical devices.
Surgical mesh implants designed to help harm them instead.
People have a right to know about their health.
I'm tired of trying to get somebody to help me.
The pandemic, if anything, has taught us how important health and shared health is.
Look closely at 2-month-old Paul Gillison, and you'll see a tiny scar, a victory badge, marking his medical rescue that began before his birth. Many doctors believe that the real future in fetal medicine is not necessarily in surgery.
The pressure is growing on Ottawa to consider changing the laws that make assisted suicide a crime.
The safety and success rate of this procedure haven't yet been proven in medical trials. Alternative antibiotics for these treatment-resistant strains. Canadian diabetes experts who watched the presentation in Miami today say they're skeptical and a little worried. This is a new disease with an unknown cause and an unclear means of transmission.
Thousands of people are being asked to spend the next 10 days at home after the Ontario government declared SARS a medical emergency. They look like healthy snacks filled with fruits and grains, but some contain a fat linked to diseases that are on a dramatic rise in North America. Trans fats won't always be clearly labeled on all products. You may have to hunt for their other names.
Problem is our bodies can't process trans. It either accumulates in our fat or circulates through our blood, raising our risk of heart disease.
Can you tell us how you feel right now?
For me, it's more of a void. So everything is just empty.
She suffers from chronic, untreatable depression and is about to put her brain into the hands of a team of Canadian scientists. They want to try to reverse her depression with a radical experimental surgery called deep brain stimulation. Doctors implant electrodes into section C25, thread wires under the scalp to a battery pack in the chest.
Make sure you get your foot on there all the way.
This is the first video of 87-year-old hockey icon Gordie Howe in physiotherapy, bouncing back from a devastating stroke last fall that left him paralyzed on his right side.
For the last 15 years, Annette Funicello has been out of the public limelight. Now her husband wants to lift that curtain to let the world see the cruel and devastating effects of multiple sclerosis.
Hey, good morning, baby. Hey, you look awful good.
This is Annette today at her home in California.
I'll help her do your hair, okay?
She's now 70 years old, sharing some of the darkest days of Alice Cooper's life, too.
I drank every day and found out, didn't realize I was an alcoholic.
And was it masking depression? Was it masking anxiety?
It was masking. I hated the thought of boredom. Boredom became depression to me.
Still, there is so much unknown about this new virus that Canadian public health officials say they will continue to monitor it.
And late today, officials in Ottawa issued a new advisory telling Canadians not to travel to affected areas in China.
Travel restrictions may slow the spread of the virus, but they won't stop it.
Canada has announced it's sending 16 tons of masks and gowns to China.
Among the severely ill COVID patients in the ICU today is a young man so sick his ventilator is turned on high. This doctor describes it as a relentless daily battle.
We're not trained to go to war. Right? This is really we're going to war, right, against an enemy we can't really see.
The face of the disease has changed too from the first wave. Fewer elderly patients now, more in their 60s, 50s, and 40s. Raul Gonzalez is 46.
This is not easy. This is so hard.
Doctors say they're seeing more patients with severe COVID survive their stay in ICU.
The measures put in place to control the spread of the coronavirus were never meant to be permanent. And so with infection rates and hospitalizations dropping in many parts of the country, the move is to start living with COVID.
It's an honor to tell health stories for you and the people of Canada.